Welcome back to the Bring the Juice podcast, everybody. I am Andrew Thomason, who has been on filling in for Cody Felger for the last few days. He is actually with me today. Cody, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Still enjoying Florida. Still enjoying the warmth, and fortunately, they haven't shut down the beach yet. So I'm soaking it all in while I still can. But yeah, it's been kind of a crazy couple days here. Obviously, today, the first day of free agency, and the first day really this week that the Colts have not actually made a move. But kind of what we wanted to talk about today with this podcast is a potential move that the Colts could make, and there have been rumored to be with this free agent or interested in this free agent, I should say. We kind of wanted to touch on that, kind of the pros, the cons, and then if the Colts were indeed to sign this player, what kind of contract we'd want. And of course, I'm talking about Delanie Walker, tight end, previously with the Tennessee Titans for a number of years, from 2013 till 2019. Then was the tight end. I believe it's San Francisco, years and years ago. I want to make that for reference. Yeah, he was San Francisco for a number of years as well. He's 35 years old. He's a three-time Pro Bowl tight end, though, and he's certainly had a couple great years there with Tennessee. The last time he played in 16 games was in 2017. He had he had 74 catches, 807 yards, and 3 touchdowns. There's been actually a lot of years where he's had over 800 yards, kind of later on in his career with Tennessee there. All the years that he was healthy, he played 15 or more games. He had 800 or more yards, and really kind of established himself with Tennessee as one of the top tight ends in the league. But the last couple of years, he's been struck kind of with the injury bug. He's only played in total of 8 games. He missed a lot. He missed 15 in 2018, and obviously he missed a few here in 2019. But Andrew, I kind of wanted to talk about the pros really fast of Delanie Walker, kind of what I just mentioned, 3-time Pro Bowler, and another weapon for Philip Rivers. Obviously, the Colts signed him yesterday to a 1-year deal. So he could just be another weapon for him alongside Jack Doyle, alongside T.Y. Hilton, and really give that tight end room something that they don't have right now with Eric Ebron not being brought back. What are your thoughts on the pros of Delanie Walker?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Delanie Walker, and I know he's kind of up there in age, being 35 years old. But I mean, I remember, back in, I think it was 2011, 2012-ish when they drafted Delanie Walker, they being the 49ers. I remember watching a playoff game. I think it was the 49ers and Saints, and he was obviously a part of that team, and he had a big impact on that game. He's an excellent run blocker, has always been an excellent run blocker. So certainly that would be a tremendous help for Frank Reich in this offense. He's not really, I guess, an Eric Ebron type. He's not somebody that's going to stretch the field, but he is reliable as a pass catcher, and then, as I mentioned, a run blocker. And I think he would be a solid signing for the Colts.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing you mentioned, he's not Eric Ebron, and the fact that he does actually block, he actually run blocks, and so he would be a guy that not necessarily, Eric Ebron was really in to catch the football, and that was about it. And for the big play, he wasn't really put in there and asked to block much because they had Jack Doyle, because they had Noelle Cox. But you throw in a guy like Walker, who's done that his entire career and done that very well, that is an interesting mix because now you have 3 really good run blocking tight ends. And then I would think, Andrew, that you would probably want to dip into the draft if you do sign Walker and draft more of a receiving type of guy, a big playmaking type tight end. There in the couple, I would say between probably for me 3rd or 4th round, you'd want to address that tight end position and just get a guy that can really stretch the field. But man, the Colts love their tight ends, and you've seen that time and time again. They used Eric Ebron so well there in 2018, and Jack Doyle's just always been there. And, I believe that they think they have a lot of talent, and they have a lot of talent at that tight end position. So it's like, okay, if you add another guy that's talented like Walker, obviously he's not a guy that you're going to rely on and have the kind of role that he had maybe in Tennessee and San Francisco, but he's another viable option. You know that the injury risk is there, but why not sign a guy that's proven that he can do it and then also bring in another guy so you have 4 good tight ends that Frank Reich can use in that offense, and that Philip Rivers, just add another weapon to Philip Rivers' arsenal, especially since, as it stands right now, the Colts wide receiver group seems like it needs some work here in the offseason, whether that be free agency if the Colts decide to go after one of these free agent wide receivers, which actually Derek just posted some guys that he believes the Colts should pursue right now, so go check out that video. Or, maybe they bring back Devin Funchess. I actually posted a tweet earlier today. I said, man, Philip Rivers gives his guys, that's one thing about Philip Rivers that I really like. He gives his guys 50-50 chances up there. With Devin Funchess, you have a guy that's 6'4", over 200 pounds. So I'm like, team, bring back Devin Funchess because he's the type of guy that you can throw it up to, and he can win those jump balls because he's just bigger than defensive backs most of the time. So I think that this would just be a great option for the Colts. We mentioned some of the negatives, Andrew. Obviously, his age is a big negative. He's 35. He'll be 36 in August. He's had the injury history the last couple of years, like I mentioned. He's played in 8 games total the last 2 years. He played in 7 games last year. And, with that age thing, it's kind of something that we talked about with different players, right? Like, whenever you're older, like we looked at, for example, we talked about the Adam Vinatieri injury. It's been an injury now that's lingered in 2 years. And it's just something that, as you get older with age and you have that injury, it begins to linger a little bit longer, right? It's just harder to recover from that injury as opposed to when you're 20, in your mid-20s, you have an injury like that. So that's certainly a factor. Andrew, do you have anything else that for you would kind of make you be hesitant to sign Walker?
Not really. I think you really hit on it. The injury history for me, I'm sure as you, or for you as well, I should say, is the biggest concern. Like you said, with Walker being 35, it oftentimes takes his body a little longer to heal than it would back when he was in his early 20s. But nonetheless, as you and I have both mentioned, I think this would be, or he would be, I should say, a great addition to this Colts locker room and to this Colts offense.
I agree. I think another drawback that I just thought about when you were talking, Andrew, is it's been rumored that not just the Colts, but there's been a couple of teams who have been interested in Walker. So I guess my question is, what kind of contract would he be willing, would he be looking for? And also, is Ballard willing to pay for him a little bit? Because it seems like the Colts aren't the only ones that could be potentially interested in Walker's services. So how much do the Colts really like Walker? How much do they want to kind of invest in something that's kind of a little bit questionable, for the obvious reasons we just mentioned. And so I think those are all things and all factors to consider. Say the Colts did bring in Walker, say they did sign him to some sort of deal. What kind of deal would you be looking for if the Colts did indeed bring in Delanie Walker to be to work with Philip Rivers and work with Frank Reich and work with this offense?
That's a good question. I think when you factor in his age, being 35 going on 36, his injury history, I wouldn't expect anything more of maybe a 1 or 2 year deal, somewhere maybe around 10 or 12 million. Honestly, from the teams that I've seen that have interest in him, other than the Colts, I think there are maybe 2 or 3 more teams total. So the market isn't really all that big for him, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
a 1 or 2 year deal, maybe like I said, 10 or 12 million.
Yeah, that's not bad. Especially if the Colts decide, they're going to, cut ties. We already mentioned, they're going to cut ties with Brian Hoyer. They're going to trade Jacoby Brissett. That frees up a lot of cap room as well. That's kind of, I think the 3 teams, the Colts are interested. Washington's interested, and Green Bay is interested. So those are definitely 3 teams to keep an eye on. But we just kind of want to update you guys on this potential news. If the Colts did indeed sign Delanie Walker, there had been rumors of it floating around today here on the first day of free agency. So, what if tomorrow or in a couple of days the Colts, news breaks that the Colts signed Delanie Walker, just know this is the news and come back to this video and kind of hear our thoughts on Delanie Walker. But, well, thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it, man. It'll be interesting to see now if the Colts make any more free agency moves. They didn't make a move as it stands right now at 6/12 on the first day of free agency, but they made a couple big moves already. So it'll be interesting, man, to see what the Colts continue to do and continue to see if they're finished or not finished in free agency.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks guys for listening, and go Colts.